only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined, as always, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and our fermenter entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
And tonight we are out and about on location, and we're somewhere that we've had people from this brewery on before, but we have not been here, and I'm very excited to be here because this has been a long time in the making. Steph is grinning as
excited?
I used the word. I said the word.
Are you excited?
drink people drink.
Yeah,
excited?
right. It's
Yes,
a drinking
excited.
game. How many times can I say excited? But we are on location at Saucony Creek Brewing Company in wonderful Kutztown, Pennsylvania. And we have two gentlemen with us at the table who are kind enough to spend a little time with us. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, we have...
Chef Tim Howells.
And...
Hi, my name's Matt.
Matt, the man, the myth, the legend, and of course...
He's
Chef.
like Madonna. He goes by one name.
Just one name, yeah. And Tim has been going back and forth between here and the kitchen making some food. From what I understand, we're going to have some tasty little samplings on the show as well.
Yeah, we're going to pair some of the food with the beer.
All right. I look forward to that. So we've got a little bit to do, and then we'll get into some of the goodness that is Saucony Creek. So let's do this. So, there was one major thing that happened recently, and if you missed...
In the whole world.
In the whole
In the last-
entire world. But there's one thing newsworthy in the beer world that I wanted to pass along. So if you didn't hear the news or you missed the article that I wrote on beerbusterspodcast.com, we are officially at an all-time high for breweries in the United States. As of the end of November, the Brewers Association reports that we hit an all-time high with a record 4,144 breweries across the nation. That is the highest in 142 years. The record was 1873 with 4,131 functional breweries.
I still have more unique check-ins.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The world will never catch up. That was our Did You Know?
The
Steph
world
has
may
more,
catch up, but the country, however,
The country has not caught
may
up.
not.
I don't think the world will catch up either.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, we're at an all-time high. There was a nice little infographic that accompanied the article that was from the Brewers Association. We had it on beerbusterspodcast.com as well. But it compared the landscape of 1873 to now, showing the overall population. So the U.S. is currently at about 312 million people, while in 1873 there was a population of about 42 million. So per capita, we have a long way to go. Long way to go. But overall, we are at an all-time high. There's 15 states that have more than 100 breweries. Pennsylvania is one of them.
Of course.
And here's what I like as well. At the time, in 1873, New York produced the most beer with 2.9 million barrels per year, while today, Pennsylvania takes that award with 4.1 million barrels.
Thank you, Yingling and Sam Adams.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So we have, there's more you can read, beerbusterspodcast.com. With that article, that was really the only thing I wanted to pass along. And I also wanted to mention this. This episode of Beer Busters is brought to you by Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters and get a free 30-day trial of Audible with their wonderful audiobooks that they have. I finally started listening to The Science of Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, it's a pretty good book.
Took me long enough.
Yeah.
So because
How are the voices of the people that read them?
normal? I mean, I don't know.
Their voices?
They're not in Klingon, I can tell you that.
Should be. There probably is a
should be.
Klingon version out there.
Well, maybe that can be the book that you download once you sign up for your free 30-day trial. And the cool thing is, the book that you download, if you get the free 30-day trial, you get to keep that even if you don't go on with your membership.
Oh,
and
nice.
I mean, the rates are pretty low overall. I had an account for a couple of months. I mean, it was like $10-15, somewhere around there. But you get to choose how many books you get a month. So it all hinges on that. So audibletrial.com/beerbusters and get your free 30-day trial. Now that we've paid some bills, let's get to what we have at hand for tonight.
Beer.
Beer, exactly. So we are on location, as I said, Saucony Creek, which is in Kutztown. Now we have with us a sipping beer that Matt and Tim were kind enough to start us off with. What are we sipping on?
We're sipping on one of our X-Reserve beers. So there's a whole lineup of different beers in X-Reserve as a series, and it's basically our brewer's playground. Small batch. We never do more than 100 barrels of any of this. So we actually have, I want to say we have 5 X-Reserves for you guys to try tonight through the show. But starting off with the Doppelbocks. So It's a nice 7.5% traditional lager Doppelbock.
Ooh.
We came out. This has been out now, I think, for about a month. We're just kind of on the end. The end of it, and that's what the whole X Reserve series really is about. Is kind of the experimental playground, and when it's gone, it's gone. If it's a big hit, it comes back again next year.
Nice.
Very nice. This guy's a lovely malt character too.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Yeah, it really does.
The malt is definitely the star. You get a tinge of sweetness and a tinge of the warmth from the alcohol, but not too much. It is dangerously drinkable.
A tinge.
A tinge.
A tinge. What's a tinge?
A bit.
A slight bit.
A slight bit. Okay.
A small amount.
Yeah, and
As it were.
What was the ABV on this?
7.5.
I was gonna say more than you think it is.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Wow. So, dare I say another word I use a lot? Smooth.
Thank you. No, I think you'll notice with a lot of our beers, and Nick does a great job at hiding a lot of the heat from high ABVs. And again, get ready for the lineup tonight because a lot of things are over. A lot of things are over 9%.
Yeah.
When we walked in, you offered us a beer, which we're very grateful for. And Wayne's first answer is normally, "What's the lowest ABV you have?" And looking at the board that's behind him, 6.8 is the lowest that's on tap right now.
Currently today, there's, like I said, the X Reserve. Well, it kind of rolls with that fun experimental X Reserve series too. Everything from Maple Mistress to Hop Suplex to our Belgian Strong Dark, our Belgian Triple, everything's over 9.4. So it's kind of a it's getting cold. We're just trying to stay warm.
You just want to warm everyone up.
True.
It's all good.
With the rising energy costs in this country, drink beer.
Drink beer.
Drink very high ABV beer. And you made reference to Nick. Nick, you were saying, was not able to be here with us tonight, but he's your head brewer.
Yeah,
right?
Nick Michio joined us a little over a year ago. Most recently joined us from Weyerbacher, but he has a heck of a resume, which
I'll say,
includes Russian River and Fegley's Brew Works and Moat Mountain and Penn State grad that went on to American Brewers Guild Academy. He's
a fellow ABG grad.
He is a wealth of knowledge in the brewing industry, and then with his ag background from Penn State, he's also well versed with his malt and hop selections, and obviously picked up a great deal of IPA brewing and barrel aging work out at Russian River Brewing behind Vinny. He was their first apprentice, actually, so it was it was
nice.
a cool
Wow.
experience for him. And then he got to brew behind some other great guys up at Moat Mountain, and then obviously down here. He's from the Lehigh Valley, so he moved back not too long ago for family, and then made his way here. Thank goodness, because he took what was a small homebrew hobby and turned it into a professional brewery.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, if this is any indication of what he's kicking out, I'm very anxious to see what's coming down the pipeline.
And I imagine the long list of high ABV beers was probably something he took from his experience at Weyerbacher.
Yeah.
IPAs from Russian River, high ABV
Yes.
beers from Weyerbacher.
I will. There are some low ABVs in X Reserve series.
Sure.
Peach and Ginger Saison was 5.2.
Speaking of,
Fair enough.
That's the only one I can think of, though.
and that is kind of your baby right now. I mean, you guys
It
brought home a
is.
gold medal for that beer.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome experience.
GABF gold medal 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a crazy shocker. I mean, we obviously entered a number of beers, but we also kind of sit there in the seats watching the show. You're a little hazy and hungover from the night prior GABF events, and then you're having your morning beers because they start serving beer as you walk into the Belco Theater and at 9 a.m. And we're all there thinking with our high hopes for Maple Mistress, because that's the beer that has been the most notable for us on our portfolio. And so we always are sitting there keeping our fingers crossed for that. And then, the name pops up on the screen, and you hear Charlie Papazian say your name, and nobody really, it didn't register with anybody. And I stood up. I do remember standing up and screaming a profanity at the top of my lungs.
Nice.
And like, I had to shake people around me, like, that's us. Like, And
Pay attention.
one of our brewers, Tyler Schmoyer, was sitting there. He goes, "That's kind of weird. Somebody else has an X Reserve beer out." Didn't even realize it was us. So by the time we all cleared the haze from our eyes, we had a great time running. We were also in the very last row of the theater because we were late, so we had to run the whole way down, and it was a great time though. And it turned an already fun weekend into a huge celebration, and we were thrilled and honored. It does definitely go to show all the hard work that these guys are doing in the back, and Nick is a major puzzle piece to that. I wish he could have been here to hang out.
We'll be
family
back.
I was going to say, we'll get him. We'll get
He's
him
here
on
in
the show.
spirit. We're drinking his beer. So
absolutely.
He's here in spirit.
He's always
He's here in spirits.
So, Tim, I have to ask, with these X Reserve beers, there's a lot of really unique ingredients in those. How do you find a dish to pair with something with so many crazy flavors going on?
Normally, I like to test out the beer a couple times, make sure that I
drink a
enjoy
case.
it. And
I need more of that beer to try.
Normally
me
just pick out the flavors and try to pair that with food that it would be paired with. Hints of toffee, stuff like that. We actually have the X Reserve Coffee Stout. I do a candy nut version where I actually bring down the coffee and then add a little bit of sugar just to kind of take away the bitterness, and then just add things that accompany those flavors.
So do you see the X Reserve sort of as a challenge, these unique beers that pop up now and then? Or are you
Yes,
like, oh, it's just another
definitely.
beer?
No, I get excited when I get the emails of new beers that are coming out, or beers that we released and they kind of went away and they're coming back out again.
His challenge is that he's cooking in a half kitchen, and we don't have the real one open yet.
A convection oven
They're
and a
teasing
griddle.
You do what you can do.
Yeah, you do what you can with what you got. So do you think it's a challenge to come up with food to pair with the X Reserves because they're so flavorful and they're so unique and interesting flavors? But do you if you were to pair beer with, say, the lager, which is a pretty standard style, do you think that gives you more room to sort of be creative and do pairings? Because everybody probably has ideas of what should go with a lager. Whereas if you have like a peach ale, you're kind of a little more limited in your choices, I would think.
I mean, I really think that everyone's taste buds are different. Everybody's going to get a different flavor from the beer. Some might, for example, some people might not get the toffee and they get more chocolate or darker malt flavors. So I try to do what I think will go good and experiment. Some things work, some don't. So you kind of take those notes down and you go back to the drawing board and maybe you try a different beer with, say pork or whatever. So far they've all been pretty good and good feedback. So just keep doing it. Figure it out on the way.
Now, you've been in the culinary industry for quite some time, but this is your first position with a brewery?
Correct. I'm usually actually used to pairing wine, fine dining restaurants. I actually created a pop-up dining club where we actually did focus on beer pairing dinners. So I do have a little bit of experience, but this is the actual first brewery.
So I would imagine that, given pairing food with wine is obviously something that people have been doing for a very long time. I think pairing food
However,
and beer...
if you ask Garrett Oliver, pairing beer with food is better.
Is better. That's what I was going to get at. Yeah, because you have far more styles of beer and you have a far larger
beer is meant to be paired
spectrum to work with.
And we definitely play with some out there ingredients on a lot of the beers, I think, and I kind of like to think that most of our beers follow some education of history and tradition with a new adventurous step forward. And so I think by doing that with the beers, first off, it lends into the kitchen and what Tim's going to get to do on the food side, especially because we're not limiting it too far. I mean, we do believe in doing as much local as we can, and we've been trying as hard as we can to do that with the beers. It's obviously a little bit more of a challenge with malt houses and everything all over the place, and certain hop varieties can't grow as well here. But Tim has a much bigger resource as far as being able to pull from all the local natural farming and all the neighboring farms, creameries, butchers that we have in this area. He's got a fantastic network of people that he's been working with, and I think he's going to blow your mind with the food that he has in a fake kitchen. And then
when he gets the real kitchen,
yeah,
then it's really on.
I think we're all looking forward to it because we see what he's doing with the limited resources, and once he has the real deal, it's gonna be pretty killer.
And this is definitely, if you're looking for good quality local ingredients, this is an area to be in.
Definitely.
Kutztown, Berks County,
Yeah.
pretty much Pennsylvania in general. There's just so much homegrown,
there's no
delicious
doubt.
things that come from Pennsylvania.
I took it for granted growing up in this area, and then as I came back and had the dream of opening the brewery here and all that, it really is just a relief to see it and understand, like, oh my gosh, there's so many talented people, craftsmen, growers, butchers. It's like when you notice that. Especially as I was just kind of blind to it growing up, and really took it for granted.
You just get used to it, yeah.
And now it's like, holy cow, this is amazing.
You realize how
we have
unique it
all
is.
of this at our fingertips, and if we can get all of these people together around the same table, we can do some pretty cool stuff.
You drive around PA, growing up, and farmland, silos, cows. You just say it's just part of the scenery.
Yeah.
And then
The smell.
You stop and the smell, which isn't always the best.
You get used to it.
It's a necessary part of it.
So you've teased about the gastropub. Do you have an opening? Do you have an update for us? I know that, lots of...
This is hard-hitting journalism right here.
Well, I know it's always a tough ride when you're trying to open something. But
I think that we've listed about 40 different opening dates at this point. It's taken a long time. We are, since my very first township hearing, it's been over 3 years.
Wow.
But we've got, I really do think that we're going to open in 2015.
you heard it here first.
That's a pretty confident statement because it is the beginning of December.
I heard, I got a notification on iCal that said it's December, and so I'm getting a little nervous because I heard that there's some holidays in the future.
There are some things
But
coming up, yeah.
no, we really are down to a couple details. There was a couple things in the kitchen that needed some fine-tuning on some engineering prints, and between the contractors and the township, they're dialing that in, and I'm pretty sure that we're down to the final days.
The final
You can
countdown.
see the
As
finish
far
line.
as far
Thank
as
you.
the actual pub and everything is, it's built out. We're hoping to finish that all up in detail this weekend to the point where the only thing that is waiting on is that stamp and the go-ahead on the kitchen, and then we can let Tim actually
Do his job.
then we
Get
can
into a real kitchen.
Let him flex his muscles.
we can let Tim work 80 hours a week.
Yeah, a friend of mine is in the food industry, and he was telling us about the long hours a while ago. I don't know how you guys do it, but if you love what you do, then you're not really working.
Yeah, I've tried sitting.
Even then, I think sometimes it feels like you're working.
Your feet definitely hurt at the end of the day, but it feels good to put the smile on someone's face, after they're done eating an amazing meal. So it makes it all worth it.
What's the first meal you think you want to cook in your new kitchen?
I don't
Make
know.
me some pot pie.
Now,
Something
wait
good.
a minute. I heard a little story that you tried to make a quiche from scratch.
Yes.
And almost got threatened by your mother to
yeah,
never
that was
cook
your-
ever again.
That was the first thing you ever
So
made, right?
Yeah.
perhaps try to make a quiche here.
Yeah, possibly. We are teetering on the fence about doing brunch Sundays. So
Oh, cool.
So your mom has to come to the first brunch and show
Yeah.
her you can do it. without making
Revenge
a
of the quiche.
Revenge of the quiche.
mess. Now, was that a Julia Child's recipe?
it was Julia Child or one of the guys on PBS. The name kind of slipping me right now.
Yeah, there's like 100 of them on PBS. Yeah.
But yeah, Young Child, Martin Yan, watching all that.
David
Julia,
Rosengarten.
Yes, that's who it was. David Rosengarten.
Thank God for
Taste.
notes.
Yeah.
Steph didn't actually know that. She had to look at it.
So not only is the gastropub up and coming, but the brewery has been expanding as well. There's a lot more equipment back there than when I was here last time.
Yes. For better or worse, we have been rapidly
Filling up that space.
adding tanks, and distribution's been growing. Part of it has been because we didn't have the tap room open. And prior to the change in legislation here in Pennsylvania to allow us to quickly throw this little temporary tap room together and serve beers, we were sort of forced into surviving only by distribution. So we had to keep hammering beers out and growing our distribution. And so it's been a crazy whirlwind for a few years here. And in the midst of all of that, gastropub planning and building and back and forth has been going on, and so it's going to be a lot more work when the gastropub opens, but it's also going to be a giant relief that all the puzzle pieces are finally there and the machine can actually do what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So we're not going to slow down at all on the distribution side, and we're not going to...
No, you actually are speeding up your distribution. Didn't you just expand into Rhode Island and Massachusetts, right?
Yes. I heard about that.
As he takes a bit of a breath.
This is a thing
No,
that
Massachusetts, Boston is an awesome town. I was very blown away with the craft beer scene up there, in and around the greater Boston area. They got more bars than I can count, and they've got knowledgeable drinkers, and we have just partnered with an awesome wholesaler up there that is kicking butt, and we spent a lot of time up in the market learning what's going on up there,
and drinking, I'm sure.
Of course.
Market research.
Market research.
Yeah, I remember some of it, and it was pretty neat. No, there's some great bars up there for sure. And so we're excited about that. The Rhode Island, Massachusetts thing is probably going to be the last stretch in distribution for a while, so that we can really kind of get our feet planted here with the gastropub. And obviously here on premise we want to focus on providing the best experience for people while they're here, and keeping a nice selection of different beers on and things like that. So I don't want to get too far off on distribution up in a new state and then forget about our backyard. And this is I moved back to Kutztown to open the brewery where I grew up because I cared about the backyard, and so we want to finally have a chance to welcome people in and host and share beers and hang out, and this is going to be the core and the heartbeat of what we are. So it's going to be a nice celebratory day when we get to move out of this little room with 20 seats and into a real tap room. So it'll be great.
Although it is, I will say, I would call it more cozy than cramped. It's a nice little space here.
I was thinking that too. I've been to some other places that, even though this is a temporary spot, I've been to other places whose permanent spot didn't feel this nice.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's great to hear.
It's a great
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think we all, including some of our regular friends that are in here all the time, none of us really want to see this room go away because it's turned into our, it's been a year now that it's been our little spot. January will be a year. So I think we are going to keep this room. It's going to kind of be a private events, private party room. And so we'll keep it running. There'll always be the secret back door to the other tap room.
The other tap room.
The other tap room. I love it.
Now, was it always part of your business plan to start with distribution before focusing on, more of a tap room, brew pub, gastropub kind of?
Well, I can imagine the distribution kind of became the first thing you had to tackle. Because I know you said it took you about 3 years to get the local hearings involved to get this open.
Well, this wasn't our first location. So my first location was actually down in one of the old Saucony shoe factory buildings on the creek in town.
That gorgeous brick building, right?
Yeah, fantastic brick building. Aesthetically, it's much prettier than an old car dealership, but and that would have been the perfect spot for sticking with the original vision. The original idea was literally homebrew hobby moved into a space with a little tap room like this, and that was kind of it. Maybe an extra couple sixtels for the K-Town pub in Basin Street or whatever. Then we found out some structural problems with the building. There were scary numbers up in the air as far as fixing things.
Scary numbers.
And, hindsight, you look back at it, and we ended up probably spending more money out here anyway, but we ended up here at the old Ment Chevy building. Again, the original idea was we were only going to occupy a third of the building. Then we learned that there wasn't going to be split occupancies, and it dominoed into we've got the whole property. And then it was like, oh no, how are we going to make enough money? So it's quick.
Let's sell beer fast.
Let's sell beer
and then Maple Mistress happened.
Yeah,
Maple Mistress saves our butt.
Well, yeah,
year.
I mean that got some national attention pretty early on, from what I understand.
It was pure luck too. It was honestly, it was a first batch go. Nima Hadian, who owns Shangy's, he's our Eastern Pennsylvania distributor. He and I spend a lot of time chatting, sometimes yelling and arguing with each other, but for the most part, we love each other. And we were chatting. He was giving advice on, let's do something. You need to do something other than just another pumpkin beer. What can you do to just mix it up a little bit? And he and I came to this happy little conclusion that we were both cool with doing maple syrup, and that was going to be the twist, and we round tabled it here, put all of our heads together, and it ended up as Maple Mistress. That was our experimental batch, was the first batch that it was just like, I don't think we should mess with this.
Yeah.
And everybody else put their lips on the beer and told us don't mess with this, and we got lucky. So.
It's a phenomenal beer, and I know we had it aged before.
I remember when we had it on
and
the show.
it took it to a whole new level. Did we do a vertical with it then? I think we might have had current and aged a year. I think it was.
Very
nice.
nice.
The flavor it picks up. I mean, it's great beer right off the bat. The flavor it picks up after another year is just it's intensified.
It was one of my most popular new brew review articles I ever did too.
Yes.
It was the first one that got a lot of attention because it was early on for us.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was that's when we first ran into each other at Lederkranz,
Yes,
I think.
and you were in your lederhosen.
Yes, I was.
That's right. The first time I officially met him, he was wearing lederhosen, so I knew we would be friends.
Yes, I like you already.
Used to spend a lot of time in Germany. Those are authentic.
That's
I
a
love
good
Germany.
place to spend a lot of time.
It is a good place to spend a lot of
we
time.
just did a vertical recently. We hosted a 5K Maple Mistress race, and we had a keg of 2013, 14, and 15 on.
Oh, nice.
And 2013 was the overall thumbs up winner of the vertical. I do have a case of 13, 14 still in the basement, so we might have to break those out one of these days.
Invite us to that party.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we need evidence of that.
So speaking of awesome beers, I know we're probably itching to drink more beer, but I do have to ask. Very recently, you announced about this cask club that you guys are starting in 2016.
Yeah, I want to ask about that.
This
That's
sounds
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Can you guys tell me about it?
Yes.
Did we advertise well
Well,
enough?
the membership includes 6 different barrel-aged beers, 750 milliliter bottles, exclusive to members only.
Wow.
Cask Collective beer glasses.
A membership T-shirt.
All right.
Yes. Options
sounds
to purchase
great.
extra
Sign me
bottles
up.
if available.
And exclusive access to the tap lines here
Yes.
for those cask beers.
And there is, of course, an end-of-year party for members. And
Yes.
you have the first rights for a new membership in 2017. So I have to ask, what is the price for this wonderful package?
At an everyday low price of $160.
All right.
But wait, there's more.
If you buy now, only seen on as seen on TV.
As seen on TV.
No, it's so this was. I mean, there's obviously other breweries doing this. We're not the first to do the whole barrel club thing, and I've really been itching and dying to get our barrel program growing, and this was our way of being able to have a fun little exclusivity to it, and also sort of build a nice community as the gastropub opens as well, and really tie in all of our loyal friends at the pub. But we're going to do 6 different beers. They're going to be releasing it's going to be approximately every other month. But Nick is also excited and getting us some great stuff rolling. I can say
and Tim could perhaps suggest a few awesome ingredients, I'm sure, for some of these cask beers. Chefs always love putting things in casks.
Now,
I had some other comments on that.
Oh, man.
I was just making sure Tim was still listening to us.
Oh, yeah.
But the biggest thing on the Cask Collective, though, we are doing it very limited for the first year. We're we're stepping into this very slow, so it's only we're capping it at 200 members. And whether we're at 200 members or not, we're closing registration on December 23rd at midnight.
Oh, wow.
So whoever's in is in, and we're going to just be very focused on getting some killer barrel aging program beers going. It's going to include things on all ends of the spectrum. We're going to be getting some wild cultures going here that are going to be the later end of the year releases.
That's exciting.
One of those cultures is actually being grown off of some lacto that we found in some aged maple mistress.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
That's cool.
Nick is working on that along with some of our friends at the science labs here at Kutztown University, and the only beer that we have actually locked in right now that I could officially say the first beer that is coming out in the 6 is our Imperial Coffee Stout in bourbon barrels. That'll be February release. So that'll be the first one to start off. Hopefully, keep you warm for the end of the winter, and then we're going to start hitting some of these on their special guys. There has been Hop Suplex sitting on Brett for about a year.
Oh, wow.
Not sure where
Jen,
we're at with that.
did you hear that? Jen, if you're listening.
There's a number of fun ideas in the works for sure.
That's cool. And thinking about the price breakdown too, so $160 gets you all that, but if you break it down, I mean, how much would you normally sell a $750 bottle for? I mean, it's limited release, average. I mean, Steph, you get a lot of.
I mean, you're getting a
limited
barrel.
stuff.
I mean, you could easily pay $20.
Exactly.
If not more.
That's what I was figuring. So
Yeah.
20
Upwards,
bucks
yeah.
roughly at the minimum.
Low
So
end.
20
and you're
6
guaranteed.
bottles.
You don't have to come here at 6 a.m. and wait in line.
So right there is
You're guaranteed to
120
get
out of
it.
your 160, and then you get all the other benefits of it too. That's awesome.
It'd be a great Christmas present.
Yes.
And I think I just figured out what you can do with this room. This could
great
be
idea.
the members-only Cask Collective Club, like a nice gentleman's club. Cigars and
Yes,
big leather
you
chairs.
need to knock on the door and open the little eye
Yes,
slot.
yes.
Excuse me,
What if there are any
gentlemen's club?
ladies involved?
Well, in the vein of, but open to all.
But still with
No,
the
we'll let you
cigars
in,
and,
Steph.
and pipes and whatnot. Yeah. Now, there's one other thing I want to bring up, and I know we're itching for more beer, but I have to point this out.
And I didn't mean strip club by gentleman's club. I meant
And the smells of rich mahogany.
The rich mahogany, yes.
Exactly. That's what I meant. Classy.
Now, Matt, you have an interesting background beyond the owner of a brewery and upcoming gastropub. So you...
Yes, I'm a high school dropout.
You're
A beauty school dropout?
A beauty school dropout. But above that, you are a professional athlete.
I used to be.
Well, I mean...
I'm far
That
from
was
like
like
that.
once,
before
once
all the
and
beer.
forever. Once and forever. So you were in the X Games. You were...
I was, yes.
Snowboarder, was it?
I was rollerblade and snowboard.
Oh, rollerblading.
17 years.
All right.
I wore spandex. No, I didn't. I didn't actually wear spandex when I skated. But no, I skated rollerblade half pipe from '94 to like 2002, and then I was competing snowboard super pipe 2002 to 2010, 2011, and then I just kind of I got away from the competition stuff. Was starting to actually develop some resort properties with Woodward Camps and Intrawest Resorts at the time, and so we started building Woodward's winter camp programs out at Copper Mountain, Colorado, and then we got going in Tahoe as I kind of departed from that and came back east. Was doing a couple shows. I broke my hip and femur doing a vert show,
geez.
and I had already, I'd started thinking brewery, and then that was kind of the final straw. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's that.
I'm probably
that's
not
that
going to
like
break
giant
my leg.
slap from God saying,
Well, yeah.
like, you're done with
You
this.
had a lot of time to think about it then, too, as you're,
Yeah,
down
it was
and out.
it was one of those depressing like those I'm sitting on a hospital bed in my parents' living room moments of like, yep, I'm just going to work on the brewery from now on.
Probably a good idea. That's a safe way to go. Now, so you competed in the X Games and all. Is that where the name for X Reserve came from then, or is that just a happy coincidence?
Shoot, you figured it out. No, I mean, it was. There was a little bit of that, and we've obviously been inspired by Trogue's Scratch series, and I've loved what those guys do with that. And John Trogner has been a huge supporter and just mentor of helping with the growth of Saucony, and giving advice where needed. And so he told me how they manage Scratch, and I was like, that's cool. I really want to have that sort of freedom of brewing again, to give that sense of and that spirit of what homebrewing used to be all about for me. And
right.
And we did the X a little bit in light of X Games, I guess.
Nice.
As much as we all used to hate what X Games was as athletes there, it is what people know of that culture. So,
Right.
Yeah.
There's a story I like to tell. I know. You said you rollerbladed. The one time and only time I ever tried to rollerblade, I broke Wayne and I brothers. I broke our mother's toe.
I remember
Your
that,
mom's
yep.
toe, not yours.
No, hers.
Yeah,
Rolled
hers.
right over it
In our basement, right?
garage.
A garage.
When we were on
in
Juniper.
the garage. Yes.
Yeah. That was the blades came right back off, and I went right back to playing video games.
I'm thinking about picking a pair up again and maybe just cruising around. So if you guys want to come out, we'll do a little lap around the brewery and have some beers afterwards.
All right. That sounds good. That sounds
Or
good.
you make
I'll
it fun
just
and have
sit.
the beers
I'll
first.
vine all of it. I'll just sit there on the sidelines.
We
I'll
could
bring-
have a fun little relay race,
Exactly.
including a handoff of a pint.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's a good idea.
Keep
I'm
other people's feet away from me.
going to bring
I'll
a
just be the
Segway.
judge. I'll blow the whistle.
There you go. Steph can blow the whistle.
This could turn into a fun event, almost like the goat races. It's instead going to be
Yeah, right. It'll be the annual Saucony rollerblade.
So I'll do what I do at
fest.
the goat races. I'll just hold a camera.
with one
Like every-
Segway. I heard there's going to be one Segway.
I'm bringing
in
you
there.
a Segway.
There's
I'm
one
bringing you a
Segway.
Segway.
in there.
I'll bring a hoverboard.
I'm going to be like the pace car.
I was just going to say those hoverboards are not allowed. They're not hover.
Damn it.
They don't hover. They are not
Yeah.
hoverboards. They are Segways minus the handles.
Okay, I'll bring a Segway minus handles.
Okay, fine.
Can we beer now?
I'm suing for false advertisement. This doesn't hover.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
This thing doesn't hover.
Well, on that note, and Steph's clamoring for this, so somewhere along the way, there was a beer that was delivered to us, not by drone, but a beer was delivered to the table. Now, what are we starting with in the official tasting part of the show?
This is official segment 1.
Officially tasting segment 1.
The first beer is...
Alex, what is Hexerai?
I have no idea.
A 5% ABV traditional white ale.
See, I told you we had low ABV beers.
You
All
put
right.
this one in there just to prove us wrong.
Yeah, that's the only one.
That's the only one.
The only one. But no, you guys did have a Kutztown lager before the
Yes,
show.
thank
That
you
was
for
also
that.
5%. Now, Hexerai is our very traditional Belgian-style wit beer. Sweet orange peel, coriander additions, a nice wheat base to offset the pale malt base. And Nick refreshed this recipe recently. If anybody had Hexerai a year ago, it's actually a whole new beer.
To say, we did have that.
have it,
here.
yeah.
It's a whole new beer, new yeast strain on it, and I don't know. I'm not usually I don't normally lean toward wheat beers. I don't dislike them. I just don't normally lean toward a wheat beer as a go-to beer. But Hexerai has definitely caught me as a nice, refreshing, citrusy tone beer that just kind of it finishes off a day if it's a hot summer day, whatnot. So it's been going over well. We have a new label on it too. It's a new purple label. It still has our kind of white witch sorcerer girl on it, but then
We
it's
call them sorceresses.
sorceresses. Yes. Sorry, I haven't played Magic in a while. It's a sorceress.
Oh, God. I feel like we're back in 7th grade.
Yeah, I used to play at lunch at the
I did
Magic
too.
table at
I did
lunch.
too.
Played in a couple tournaments over at the Holiday Inn in Foglesville
Wow.
too. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
real into it for a little bit.
Magic's the one thing I never got into. I did
I
play
used to-
D&D a lot.
I used to love
okay.
Magic the Gathering, but I always lost. I was really bad at it because I'd try and be like really complicated and have this huge strategy, and my opponent would just come at me with brute force, and I'd be
Come
dead.
at me, bro.
Okay,
Yeah.
nerd busters.
Sorry.
We
So,
could do
Tim.
that if you want.
So speaking of this
Tim.
beer,
Speaking of this beer, what would you pair with Hexerai?
Steph, stop asking all the questions I want to ask.
I'm inside of your head, Dan.
Can we share questions?
Yeah, right. But yes, Tim, what would you?
I'd probably pair a spicy chicken taco or something, or a
that'd be
fish mahi taco. Tacos are easy. That's what I've been doing here
And
pretty
delicious.
often. Yes.
Tacos are easy
And
and
who doesn't like tacos?
yes, absolutely.
Communists.
So on the menu, do you envision having your dishes and then a beer list, a suggested beer pairing on the menu? Or are you going to have the servers kind of recommend? Or how do you...
Like I said earlier, I think everyone's taste is a little bit different, so I don't want to
So
make...
this is what Tim would drink, but you don't have to
Yeah,
drink
I don't want to make somebody go a route they don't want to go. We will have suggestions, and I think the servers will be well versed on that, where they can recommend a couple options rather than say, the chef recommends this. My taste buds are different than
You just don't want
everybody's.
people to get pissed off at you.
Well, I enjoyed the food,
But your
but
beer
the
pairing
pairing
sucks.
sucked. So
And we, with the servers up in the front, gastropub, even here, they have started. All of our staff, including the kitchen, Tim and Derek are working on as well. Everybody's going to have their level 1 beer server, Cicerone, and there's a handful also doing their level 2. So
nice.
I think that, and including the brewing staff who has their beer serve and their level 2, I think collectively we can all make some good suggestions for folks and give them options based on, like Tim said, their different flavor profiles and interests.
As far as the beer itself goes, I love the citrus that's there, the orange. You get the coriander in it, and what I've found with some beers that have coriander and orange in it before, it lingers in. You get this weird citrusy sweetness in the end. This doesn't. This washes that the flavor's there. It hits you and then it's away, which
And
makes
it
you
allows the Belgian yeast to come out.
exactly. Yep, you get
know
that,
exactly
and
what
then
you mean.
immediately I want to go back in for more.
That's what I like about it, is that it is a very citrusy wheat beer, very American style wheat beer.
It starts
It's-
American and ends Belgian.
but
That's
it keeps
fantastic.
that Belgian and biscuity character. in
Jeff's
as
just
well.
writing down this is a new description.
Well, and you don't. It's usually one or the other. You know,
It
you get
usually
it's
is,
either
yeah.
it's really citrusy and heavy and weedy, and that's fine, blue moonish, or it's very bubblegummy, Belgian-y.
Which
but this
unfortunately
kinda
is
like
always
both.
the comparison that you need to introduce people to a white or wheat.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean it's the
moon.
mainstream
Yeah.
one.
But yeah.
But no, I won't put an
It's
orange in it.
classy
Sorry.
Blue Moon. No, I won't compare it to Blue Moon.
No, we actually serve this with a whole unpeeled orange. We just put it right in
Just
there.
right
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
That's very avant-garde.
That's what Coors told me to do.
Nice.
No, I really like this one. I think it's a good way to start. It's a nice low ABV to start off the night.
And it's the last one you
I
can.
know.
Yeah, those two 11.5% coffee stouts are coming around soon.
Oh God,
That sounds
Just
amazing.
promise me you won't bring out any tequila.
Do they have Ubers out here?
We have Rich.
We brought our DD. We're very lucky.
I need one of them.
a DD or
A
an Uber?
DD, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking into one of them.
That's the next business extension.
Another beer has been delivered, not by drone. Is this the X-Reserve Lord of Misrule?
By the way, I bought Rich a drone for Christmas, and he said that he would record us from above and deliver beers to us.
That's a good use of
awesome.
it.
Sorry.
I approve.
The Beer Busters drone.
Sorry, back
Anyway,
in.
but
Yes, this is the Lord of Misrule.
Lord of Misrule.
Yeah,
All right.
I just sniffed it out.
Okay. All right.
So we also have Lord of Misrule in Firkin tonight as well. So you're just drinking the regular draft line
Whoa.
right now. Lord of Misrule has been a beer we've had out for a few years now. This was actually one of the first beers that we brewed when we opened. Belgian strong dark, lots of dark Belgian candy syrup. We did add a little bit of cherries this year to it as well.
Thought I got that.
Yep, a little bit of cherry addition. And just a nice traditional Abbey Ale yeast that brings out all those complex flavors and a little bit of
The
fig
dark
and
fruit, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Plum.
so it's a nice 9. I think we're 9.8 this year. Is what it came
Oh
out
my
at.
god! It does not. It's. I like how the
Yeah.
notes say
Man.
a subtle alcohol warmth. I get no alcohol
Nope.
warmth at all.
No.
This is a beer that's going to get you in
You get a
trouble.
little, I get a little bit, in the aftertaste, there's sort of like an afterglow of subtle warmth that is kind of making me think this
An
is probably
afterglow
Afterburn.
of sudden-
So much for the afterglow.
I told
So
you
much for
guys,
the
Nick
afterglow.
hides the afterglow. No, he's amazing with it. But Lord of Misrule. So the name Lord of Misrule comes from there's an appointed figure in historical England and northern France. There was an appointed, usually a middle level, just peasant level individual assigned to play host to the Feast of Fools post-harvest and host the chaos of the holidays and the partying that happens after the harvest and all the work is done.
Wow.
And so they were appointed as the Lord of Misrule, who was to oversee all the chaos.
Oh, I got
Nice.
okay. an apt moniker for this beer.
Yeah.
it. I would let this beer roll over me.
I thought you said rollover.
Yeah.
This
You
beer
may
roll
roll
over.
over after you have a lot of
Interpret it as you will.
Love to roll, bro. We're gonna rollerblade later.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
right.
Like I said, keep other people's feet away from me.
No, so and then this is also Lord of Misrule is also what we have in the Firkin, and that's with some hand-chosen spruce tips that Chelsea, our bartender, went and picked with a pocket knife in the rain the other night.
Wow.
And
That's
and
pretty awesome.
added by hands. It tastes like Christmas and goes along with the whole Lord of Misrule theme.
That's awesome.
It does. That's really cool.
I like the way the flavors are blended in this so well. You have like the notes even say the fig, the raisin, the banana, the cherries. Even you get so much out of it so well. And Greg agrees. Former guest,
Thank you, Greg.
Gelsinski.
So I'm gonna let this warm up a little
That's a
bit.
good idea.
It's
It
a
is.
little warmer.
You know, I'm happy you said that because almost everything else coming is good a little bit warm. Chelsea, start warming the beers.
Start warming the beers. It also keeps me from drinking it too fast because it is 9.8%.
Yeah, there's also that.
But yeah, I imagine
It's
a
delicious. It's
little
so
more
so good.
complexity out of it once it's warm.
I ran into you, Matt, at Opening Tap this year,
Yes.
and I know you had something extra reserve with you. What did you have there? That was
would
so
have
long
been-
ago. I'm sorry.
That would have been the Belgian double IPA.
Okay.
On the night of January 2nd, 2013, you were at a bar.
Yeah, right.
What beer were you drinking? 7:03 p.m.
Bud Light.
You said January 2nd. I was
Let me check on Tapped.
Yeah, there you go.
actually that's a great idea.
Bad idea.
He's actually going to start checking. No, whatever it was, if it was that, I think that rings a bell. But it was delicious. I think I started the night with that too.
We could have still had the peach and ginger saison on there too.
I think you did. Because it was 2 X reserves that you had with you.
There's peach and ginger there.
That I do remember that one. I had a gold medal beer.
You did?
That's awesome.
Son of a bitch.
You know what? I've been hearing around. The word on the street is that some of the Weiss markets around the area still have a couple 750 ml bottles sitting on the shelf.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
I need to hit up a Weiss before I head home.
Our sales dude Luke found 3 bottles over at the Why Missing store.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Which
it's probably
I-
cheap as hell. Their beers are cheap.
Oh my gosh, they sell 4 packs of Maple Mistress for like $8.
Whoa.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
How do
Wow.
they make money?
I'm not
really,
sure because I know what we sell it for. So I'm not sure.
I had the peach and ginger saison on September 13th, 2015, right here.
Look at that. I hope I
don't believe
toasted
in it.
that.
No, you did not. Toast
I'm
it.
toasting our secret social media person and telling her to toast it right now.
I think you and I are friends on Untapped too, so you have no excuse.
Darn it. How do I find this? I don't know how to use
And now
this.
we have proof of it. It is recorded forever and ever on it.
If you do need Untapped tech support, Steph is the
Yes.
person to talk to.
You should, Steph. You should work for Untapped.
How do I find you
No,
on here?
they should
How do-
pay
that's-
me.
Hey, Steph H found it.
Good luck. That was like 500 beers ago.
How do
Can you
do
search
this? Can you
through like
search
somebody's
stuff?
history?
I don't think so.
No, you
Just
So
keep
you will
scrolling.
never. You'll
Clearly
just have
can't.
to toast all my check-ins from tonight.
Oh
Can
my
you just
Lord.
can you just like check like toast all chicken?
Toast every beer Steph
Select
ever
all.
checked in ever. That would
Select
be
all
awesome.
action toast.
That would be awesome, but cheating.
I want to invent a comic book character called Action Toast.
Yeah, that might be a great beer. Last night I had the
actually gonna be good.
Toasty pastry from 21st Amendment,
Not
which
a
was
bad beer.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and it's in one of those new weird 19.2 ounce cans.
Because we need 19.2 ounces.
Yeah, I don't know where this can came from, but all of a sudden, it was so fresh and so green from Terrapin, and
So fresh and so green.
and the Toasty pastries in 19.2 ounce cans. Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying. I'm
2.
emotionally distressed on it. I'm still trying to work it out.
It probably makes sense in metric.
Well, they're clearly selling it in America, so it's confusing. It's,
Yep.
No, but it was very good, and so maybe we do a toasty action. Select all.
Action Toast.
Action Toasty Select all.
Action Toasty Select All.
That is the title of this episode, right there.
Action Toasty Select All.
Action Toasty Select All.
You have to try the Misrule and the Firkin.
Spruce it up a little bit here.
Hey.
Heyo.
Look at that.
Tastes like Christmas to
Tastes
me.
like Christmas. I haven't tasted it yet.
Wow.
But,
wow.
And all other holidays celebrated within the next 20
It
days.
smells like Festivus.
It smells like Festivus. It does
It
smell
is
festival.
for the rest of us.
It smells kind of piney and sprucey, and I haven't tried it yet.
And like I said, these are local snipped spruce tips, thanks to bartendress Chelsea.
Ooh, hello. That's really good.
It's good. It's really good.
You know, the aroma.
I was afraid to be overwhelming, but the pine is nicely
It's
balanced.
nice and subtle. It's not, it's not super like pungent-y. The aroma, for some reason, just reminded me for a flash second of like walking around Grings Mill, which I
like
suppose
that.
is a really
Looking at the
good thing.
Christmas lights.
Yeah. Loves Grings Mill.
The other flavors are still there too. Mm-hmm. Like it blends with it, but it's still like it. They're all distinctly there. Like you get the spruce up front, and then a little bit of the fig.
I like that for an episode title. A little bit of the fig.
A little bit of fig. A little bit of fig.
Little fig.
Little bit Dutch.
Little hair Dutch.
Hair Dutch.
Her Dutch.
We did a collaboration beer out in Colorado last year called the Dutch Oven.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And this
I
is
heard
only
Dutch,
the first
and that's the
tasting
first thing I
technique.
think of. It's, yeah.
Have you used Deer Creek malts yet here?
We have. We actually used it in that collaboration beer in Colorado too, because what we did
Nice. So you
is
use the Dutch malt.
yeah the whole
Use a
point
little
was
bit
we
of-
wanted it to be a true collaboration. We're doing it with a different brewery this year, but we do the collaboration fest for Colorado Beer Week. And last year we brewed it with Dads and Dudes, which is a small little brew pub setup. And their head brewer Brian Connery is from Philly. He brewed at Dogfish and in the area for a while, and then moved out to Colorado. And so he had a nice little tie into the Eastern PA area. And the whole point was that it was going to be a 50-50 split on ingredients. Half of the beer was Colorado grown ingredients. Half the beer was Pennsylvania grown ingredients.
That's cool. There's a thing here.
Oh, hey, look
Tim
at this.
saves the day.
A thing
I brought
has
some
come.
goodies.
Saving the day.
Saved by Zach Morris. Here we go.
Hi. Yeah.
So what do we have here?
Yeah, some food appeared.
All right, so we have a Asian marinated hanger steak skewers.
I like all of those words.
We have it served with a spicy peanut sauce.
Oh.
So the hanger steak is actually marinated instead of doing a traditional like soy sauce marinade. We make kimchi here in house, so I added that to soy sauce, a little sesame, sweet chili, and then we actually cook it sous vide for about an hour, so that keeps it at a consistent temperature. And then it's just grilled quickly and add a little peanuts and cilantro for garnish.
Do you love how like 5 people are taking pictures of your food right now?
Yes.
It looks and smells amazing.
It does smell delicious.
Thank you.
Oh man, look at that. Is
So
that what you would
this
pair-
actually earlier we had put one together for pictures for Facebook, and Jeff, the bar manager, he ate it, so he said, this is what I would recommend pairing it with. Either that, or he wants to sell the firkin tonight. So
Well, that helps as well.
yeah.
Well, Dan,
so
ahead, boys.
enjoy.
first crack. Obviously, Steph's not going to have any of
me
this.
try. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit in
Yeah, I'm on my vegan diet right now. You guys enjoy.
the
Ah.
sauce.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Is this the veg side of the table
Yeah, it is for now.
for now?
Cool.
No, I
whatever.
go through my cycles. I
Communists.
don't do the diet because I love animals that much. It's a health thing,
Yeah.
diet thing, I love meat and I love cheese. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that
Oh
I
my
drink
God.
too much beer, so I gotta work on the.
Amen to that.
Trying to get back on the half pipe.
Yeah, I'm getting in. Speedo season's gonna be here before you know it, and so I'm just trying to get ready for the summer.
Spandex speedos.
So this is amazing.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I've never reviewed food before, but I want to give it a shot. I've had peanut sauce on some stuff before, but it works so well with I don't think I've ever had it on steak before. And I got to try it with the beer now. God damn, I have to try it with beer. Sorry.
That's
sorry.
the whole point.
I know.
Come
I
on.
got lost in the
Don't
steak.
mess this up.
Anthony
since we
Bourdain,
have
everyone.
since we have vegans over here, there's 2 more for you.
Oh my God.
I just went whole hog and took the whole piece of steak off the steak. So I just finished chewing.
Holy crap.
Oh, I think what really clinches it, pairing with this beer, is the peanut butter. the peanut flavor to it. Something about that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a beer and food expert, but
I guess I have to get a little more peanut sauce in there and then try the beer with it.
But I think the steak, obviously. Steak
I would
is
think this would
delicious.
probably cut the rich creaminess of the beer. You have the cherry kind of spruce flavor to it.
Mm-hmm. It brings out a lot of the cherry flavor. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just an interesting...
And you'd never think that with like peanut sauce and steak.
Like
you
the
would never ever think.
savoriness of the meat with the I guess also sort of savoriness of the peanuts. Something about that combines. I obviously have no idea what I'm talking about, but it works.
No,
really well.
it makes sense.
But this is a perfect example of, somebody wouldn't really take this beer and pair that with the steak. That wasn't the easy pairing.
Right.
So it could work for some people, or some people would be like peanut butter, cherries, fig, spruce tips. But,
Have you thought about doing beer dinners?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We've done a few already at other locations with Tim and
other chef friends.
Yeah. Kind of got them doing some collab work in the kitchen, and then the beer was on feature. We did one at the bookstore in Bethlehem, which Tim also used to cook at, and we did Palm Vert as well recently, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
September.
So it's
recently.
Recently, like months ago, whatever.
Ish.
Recent.
It all
counts.
It all blurs together. It happened this year. I know that. And
I think we're trying to get into do something with Foligno Winery.
Yeah, the new Foligno Wine Estate up off Old 22.
Nice.
And they're almost across the street from Pinnacle Ridge, and which I love the crew at Pinnacle Ridge too. Those guys sell us some wine barrels and stuff. So hint toward the Cask Collective.
Gonna age anything in red wine barrels?
Breaking news.
I heard something about that.
That's my favorite barrel.
We also
Red
got
Thunder?
some Napa. We also got some Napa white barrels in.
I think we have one more beer in this tasting segment.
Oh shit, do we?
We have one more.
Okay.
Belgian triple coming up.
All
And then
right.
we're gonna play a game.
This
I love
one's
it. All you
so
gotta
this
do
one's a
is
little.
make eye contact with them, and they know.
Yeah, they're good. They're real good. We try to keep good ones behind the bar.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Oh, and
And,
what
uh,
is this?
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Now there's forks and hot sauce.
All right,
it
so I
smells
just
so
brought
good.
out some. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
That's right. You're bad at. You just sit down and start talking. You don't even know what was going on before you left.
Boom.
I love
Well,
it.
everybody
You're like, I'm here, I'm
stops talking when
Yeah,
the food
we're
comes.
just in awe right now.
So we have a green chicken braised chicken nacho. So
There's a lot of words there.
we take chicken breast, tomatillos, cilantro, poblanos, all kinds of good green chilies. Marinate that, and we braise that. I really don't know which beer I used in the braising liquid, because normally I just take whatever's there and whatever I think is pairing with it, and then it's on top of smoky maple rice chips.
Oh god.
Something about the smoky maple rice chips just really works with the nachos, and people seem to love it. And then there's chipotle ranch on top.
Oh my god.
I ate 2 bags earlier,
I thought you were on a diet.
but there was no meat or dairy.
They're brown rice chips.
So that makes it okay.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, and there was maple syrup on them.
If this is any indication of what he's going to do on a full kitchen,
Like I said, I told you he was going to blow your mind with a nothing kitchen. Just wait till he's got the real deal.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is where I discovered Tim through family and friends, and he just blew my mind. And he was at the time cooking at the bookstore in Bethlehem, and he started bringing out all sorts of just sample plates like this for us. And we tried to stuff as much of it in our mouths as we could. It was just it was unbelievable. And I knew at that, like, in addition to just being a good chef, he's also very into craft beer. He's just a fan of craft beer himself.
Right.
And that's when I knew it was.
Meant to be.
It was the perfect. It was the perfect meant to be.
It was love at first sight.
It was.
Angels
Yes.
were singing.
Just the two of us.
Was it just the two of us, or was that the song that the Angels were singing?
That's what they were singing, and I'm pretty sure that they meant it should be Tim making me food in our kitchen.
Well, if you can afford the rights to that song, I think that's a perfect commercial. You and him, the beer and the food. Just the
Will
two
Smith.
of us.
Yeah. Get Will in there. Yeah.
Just the brew of us.
Now that's a nice Christmas album rendition that we're gonna do.
Just the brew of
Do you
us.
think we could record that tonight? We got all the mics out.
Could.
I mean, heck.
Could. Anybody
Let's
got a
get the
guitar?
whole tap room in on this one.
So next we're drinking another 9% beer.
Is it really a 9% beer?
Yes.
My God, what's up now? Is this the Belgian triple?
The Belgian
Oh yeah,
triple.
no, this
Reserve Belgian triple.
This one's a little bit less ABV. This is 9.4.
Just barely 9.4.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's-
9.4.
He's such the salesman over here.
Yeah. No, this is 0.4% less. It's a lot. Think about it.
All right, I'm thinking about
Let's
it.
think about that first. No, this is a wonderful Belgian triple. This is one of my favorite beers, the go-to kind of beers right now in the tap room, and I really think we knocked it out of the park again with this because it just hits all those traditional notes and nice little noble hoppiness to it, and again you get the complexities and funkiness of some of the Belgian yeasts coming out. So I'm a fan. I love what Nick's doing, and the playground is definitely playful. It's good.
Yeah.
Very
good. What I like about it is it's very rich in character. It's got that traditional Belgian goodness going on, but it's also very crisp and clean, and it finishes up very dry and nice. And
well, we definitely wanted to get the dryness out of it. We wanted to make sure that all fermented out and had that traditional dry note to it. But what I love is it still has that, like you said, that bright kind of pop of funky, a little bit of funky yeastiness, yet you got a nice crisp, clean hop punch to it as well. It just works out well. I mean, it's one of those beers that I wish wasn't 9.4, so you could have a ton of them,
Especially because it is actually, it's very good at washing down food. Like, this is the sort of beer you want to pair with food. It cleans it up. It prepares you for the next bite, but a pint of this is a bit much.
Yeah, thank goodness for these 5-ounce glasses.
Yeah.
So how is it with the nachos?
Exquisite.
Yes. You should try them, Steph.
Yeah.
I see you longingly staring at those nachos.
Tim has left the table temporarily, but this hot sauce, is this like a house-made? Or
It is. It's a house-made and properly fermented hot sauce.
Wow.
So we've actually gone into some pretty serious food constraint licensing on it because we're actually doing some proper fermented. Not just with the hot sauces, but on their like the kimchi and all the other stuff that he's been working on. So we do plan on eventually doing some packaging on stuff like this down the road, but. We're trying to be patient until the kitchen's open. So we do have a couple barbecue sauces out with that are made with hop suplex and also stonefly.
Oh, that's cool.
We did that with a local barbecue joint in the area, Windy Acres, and actually the hop suplex one. At the same time that we got a medal at GABF, those guys took runner-up 4th place at the Kansas City barbecue.
Fest.
It's basically the GABF of barbecue.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they took 4th place with the hop suplex barbecue sauce. So
nice.
It was pretty cool.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm just going to be brutally honest. A lot of things just happened. I don't know what's going to make it into the final product. There were nachos. There's cheese. There was fun times. And
the
things.
nachos will make it.
The original, when we mentioned the nachos, when Tim brought the nachos out to us, we talked about the nachos in a very professional and enlightening way, and then we ate the nachos while the mics were going.
Our guests can learn a lesson. If you are not subscribed to our newsletter yet, you need to do it now.
Yes, subscribe
Because
to
outtakes.
our newsletter.
And just late breaking news, guys. My sister just texted. There are now unicorn and squirrel emojis.
Oh,
nice.
And taco emojis.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
And a tornado emoji.
This just in.
You heard it here first. On that note, I feel like we should be a little more festive and play a game. Wayne, what do we have in store?
Cheers, people of the internet. And welcome to Happy Fun Time Games, the only podcast trivia segment that transcends cultural barriers through the power of interpretive dance.
Wow.
Today's game is Band or Beer.
Oh, crap.
In which I will say some words, and you must determine whether those words are the name of a band or the name of a beer. And we begin, breaking tradition, with a glance askance to my right.
Of course.
With Dan. Our first name of the game. Tell me, is this the name of a band or is this the name of a beer? This is Star Chicken Shotgun.
Star Chicken Shotgun.
Is that a band or is that a beer?
I'm going beer.
Dan is going to say beer. And next up is Tim. What do you think?
I'm going to say band.
Tim is going to say that is a band. Okay. Matt, what do you think?
Band.
Matt is also saying band and ending with Steph to my left.
Yeah, it sounds like a band.
Sounds like a band, but it is not. It actually sounds like completely random words shoved together, but it is in fact a 6.8% ABV IPA with 5 different hop varieties by Green Bush Brewing Company in Sawyer, Michigan. It'll have
Green Bush
Brewing Company in Sawyer, Michigan. It'll have you dancing like a chicken in an Elvis suit, according to Greenbush.
Hashtag Greenbush.
Hashtag Greenbush. And the only one who got that one correct was Dan.
Danis the Manis.
Danis the Manis. So we're moving on to our second name of the game. And Tim is going to guess first on this one. Is this the name of a band or a beer? It is Mookie Blaylock.
Can you spell that?
Mookie space BLAYLOCK. Is that a band?
I'm going to say band.
He is going to say band. Matt, what do you think?
Can I get the origin?
Can you use it in a sentence?
Mookie Blaylock is the name of either a band or a beer. Discuss.
A beer.
Matt is going to go ahead and say that's a beer. Steph, what's your guess?
Beer.
Steph is also going to say a beer. And finally, swinging over to Dan. Final guess of this round. Is it a band? Is it a beer?
I'm going to say band.
He's going to say...
That sounds
Is
like
it a
a
beer
band.
band?
I would listen to that band.
You would listen to that band. Well, in October of 1990, a new band from Seattle played their first concert at the off-ramp under the name Mookie Blaylock, a New Jersey Nets player whose basketball card wound up in the tape case of one of their early demos. It was kind of goofy, admitted the band's frontman, and do you know what that man's name was?
What?
Eddie
Blaylock.
Vedder.
No way.
Mookie Blaylock would go on to become Pearl Jam. So you have listened to them.
Shit.
Oh my God. You're
Well,
not
if you
kidding.
would have said Shirley Temple's pussy.
I am not kidding at all. So
Holy shit,
Dan
that's
and
real.
Make
Dan,
Dan go
yeah.
first again.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm trying to get it to play here too.
Dan and Tim got that one correct.
Oh, it's not playing. damn
It's
it.
not playing. The internet is not working for Dan. So we're going to move on, and Matt's going to guess first on this one.
Dan
And
can go first. It's all right.
the next name in our game is Todd the Axeman. Is that a band or a beer? Todd the Axeman.
I don't think I need you to use it in a sentence. I think that's a band.
You think that is a band? Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Steph, what do you think?
Shit.
No,
think
not an
no, it was a beer band.
Shit is not an option. It is not a shit.
Well, I was going to say beer, but he sounded really confident in that answer. Beer.
All right, Steph is going to say beer.
I don't know. I don't know
hate
anything
your
about what I'm
game.
answering right now.
It's all about the confidence. It's all in the delivery. Dan, what do you think? Is that a band or a beer? Todd the Axeman.
Todd the Axeman. Beer.
Beer? Beer? Was that a word?
Yeah, beer.
Beer, that's your final answer. And finally, Tim, Todd the Axeman, beer or band?
I'm going to go band.
You're going to go band, and it looks like Tim and Matt are wrong because it is, in fact, a beer. It is a 7.2% ABV West Coast style IPA from Surly Brewing Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Surly.
Oh, Minneapolis.
Yeah, and it was first brewed in collaboration with Amager Brewery in Denmark. It's brewed with Golden Promise malt from the UK and Citra and Mosaic hops. And we are at our fourth and final name of the game.
shit.
And
Is this game regulation or what?
It is all regulation. We are
Can we go to a
totally
shootout?
within the line.
To a
Steph,
shootout.
Dan's
you are
cheating.
the first to guess.
Dan always cheats.
Our final
Oh, yeah,
name of the
totally.
game. Is it a band? Is it a beer?
Is it a
The
bird?
name is Free Beer.
Beer.
Steph is going to go ahead and say that's a beer. All right, Dan, what do you think?
Free beer.
Free beer.
1 word? 2 words?
2 words.
2 words.
Because I'm free
You know what?
beer and...
The obvious answer is beer, but I'm going to say band because I think that's a little too much, too obvious.
Play
Okay.
free beer.
Sounds like an
Play
evil
some-
beer. It sounds
play
like an
free
evil
beer.
twin beer.
I'm as free as beer now.
All right, we're going to move along
9 minutes later.
So that means I'm wrong since Dan guessed band.
Move along to Tim. Tell me, is free beer the name of a band or the name of a beer? That probably isn't free.
I'm gonna say band.
You're going to go ahead and say
Again.
band again, which has been your answer for everyone so far. So.
You know, if you call heads every time you flip a coin,
Yeah.
eventually you're going to get it
or
right.
a stopped clock is right twice a day. Matt, final answer of the ground.
I'm
final
going
answer of
band.
the game.
I'm going
Say
band.
Band.
Shit.
Well,
My dad's a mathematician. I learned about stats.
I will tell you. In an effort to attract audiences while playing bars, this Canadian group figured free beer would definitely catch attention. However, eventually bar owners tired of dealing with angry droves of customers who felt duped because they didn't in fact get free beer and forced them to change the name. And they
That's
decided to
awesome.
go with the somewhat also misleading name of Bare Naked Ladies.
No way.
Free beer was the original name
Chicky
of
China, the Chinese
Bare
chicken.
Naked
Which is a
Ladies,
beer.
Which is the name of a
By
beer.
Evil Genius.
I was
gonna-
about to stand on my stool and just Generation X you guys that I got that right, and then you hit me with Bare Naked Ladies, and I'm totally
You
deflated.
You had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
The same with the Pearl Jam, though.
I know.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. And if you go to a Bare Naked Ladies show, there will not be Bare Naked Ladies, nor will there be free beer. Probably.
Nor will there be both original singers.
Nor will there be Pearl Jam.
Well, right. That'd be weird if they played a show together.
Adding up the points.
Adding up the
The
points.
cheater Dan won.
Our big winner today
Oh,
with
come
a
on.
perfect 4 out of 4 score is Dan, who is sitting to my right.
In his defense, he's a
For a
radio
change.
DJ, so he better know this shit.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. However, coming in a respectable second place with 2 out of 4 is Tim. Sitting at the bottom with only 1 point apiece, tied and not quite
Wait.
a German sparkle party.
Jason Mewes just walked in the door. That is all.
Wow. Thank you, that is all. Steph and Matt with 1 point apiece.
At least we didn't get a goose egg.
Boo.
That is true. That is true. It was not a shutout.
I know. I was really worried toward the end there. I was starting to sweat a little bit. Like, oh my God, I'm going to lose in my own house.
That's it.
In my own house.
Sorry to have done that to you. I feel like we should do something a little
Oh, shit.
educational.
That was very educational.
It's true.
No. Know your beers?
And Steph, what do you have?
Shit. So I'm going back to...
Steph's got shit.
I've got shit. I'm going back to old school Know Your Beers, and we're going to talk about a beer style tonight,
Oh my God.
my friends.
Wow.
My friends. For this episode's Know Your Beer segment, let's talk about the Wunderbar beer style, the Doppelbock. A very strong and rich lager, a bigger version of the traditional Bock or Hellesbock, and our sipping beer for tonight. Doppelbock, also
Which is
known...
long gone.
So true, but delicious and still a great memory. Doppelbock, also known as Fasten beer or Letten beer, Stark beer, strong beer, literally means double Bock. It's a stronger and usually darker version of the Bavarian Bock beer. It is exceptionally malty with very little bitterness, and they can range anywhere from 7% all the way up to 13%.
And what was the ABV on the one here? Was that 7.5?
7.5.
Yeah, so you've got some work to
You've
do.
got your work cut out for you. 13.
So
I know he left the rest of the beers up to that.
This is true. This is true. The Doppelbock is one of Germany's biggest beers. The style emerged in the late 18th century as a more powerful version of an old
Monastic?
Thank you.
Yep.
Monastic strong beer, the monks' liquid bread, which they traditionally brewed, of course, for the Lenten season. Since the monks had to regularly fast for long periods of time, like the 46 days between Ash Wednesday and Easter Sunday, they would make plenty of liquid bread to get them through the season. The first Lenten strong beer was brewed by Paulaner monks in Munich in the 1600s. Many believe that the Paulaner's Lenten liquid bread got stronger over the years. However, it's not exactly clear when it reached the strength that we now associate with the modern Doppelbock. The aroma of a Doppelbock is typically very strong, malty aromas, perhaps toasty or light caramel, with some low fruit aromas often described as prune, grape, or plum. The appearance is deep gold to a dark brown in color, the range there, sometimes with some ruby highlights and a large, creamy, persistent head. The flavor is very rich and malty, of course, with toasty flavors or even a slight chocolate flavor sometimes, and some fruity notes like the prune, plum, or grape that we were getting earlier, and sometimes apparent in darker versions. There's also that smooth, warming alcohol presence. Mouthfeel is medium full to full body and moderate to moderately low carbonation. So most Doppelbocks get that name ending in "ader," which is either a tribute to the prototypical salvator or to take advantage of that beer's popularity to sell it. So some commercial examples, of course, are the Polaner Salvator, Einger Celebrator, Weinhestefaner, Corbinian, sorry if I'm pronouncing it, Ondeckers Doppelbock Dunkel, Spaten Optimator, Tucher, I don't even know how to pronounce it, and Sam Adams has their Doppelbock, Bell's Consecrator, and of course, Saucony Creek Sauconator.
Of course.
And
You
Troganator.
continue
I was going to say
Troganator.
Yeah.
I love how the Pennsylvania Doppelbocks have continued the "ader"
Ader, yeah.
at the end.
The Ader. Like,
So now you know.
Theater of the mind. You know, that's interesting. Troganator is like one of my favorite beers ever.
Barrel-aged Troganator, too.
Barrel-aged Troganator is wonderful. I never caught the Ader thing. Like, I never...
Ader.
Yeah,
I never knew it was a thing.
I did a bunch of research on this too, probably about a year ago now, where I really dug into the whole what was the reason of the Ader.
Yeah.
And it was simply exactly
To
what
sell
Steph
beer.
said. It was
Just
it was
the
that was
marketing.
it was the way of defining those beers as a category.
Right.
And that's what put it in there. It was almost just like, well, why did you call it a pale or a strong or a, that was just the suffix they put there as the defining name of the beer.
Right.
But
So-
everybody jumped on it.
Would you say that the things that you read in your research, since they helped you understand the Ader, were they Aderades?
No, I was drinking Gatorade, and they were Aderades in my research.
from the beginning of that question, I knew you were going somewhere shitty with that.
Sorry.
Hashtag "Ader AIDS."
It's cool. We put labels on our bathrooms up front that said "shit-aters," so
Oh, really?
yeah, it's neat. Our plumbers are pumped.
Please stop.
Well, before we do any more shitty jokes, we should probably do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
Segment 2.
Exactly.
Yes.
Dangerous. You got two there, and I do want to note here, your notes have a misprint.
Uh-oh.
The X Reserve Imperial Coffee Stout, and I will give you this, it could have been our fault. Last year it was 9.5%. This year it's 11.5%.
Oh, my
Holy
God.
shit.
Damn it, you want to get us drunk.
We've got two different Imperial Coffee Stouts for you, both at 11.5%.
Jesus.
The first one has local Fleetwood, Pennsylvania Benchwarmers coffee in it. They're Sumatran roast, and then the second, we did a special release for our new distribution channels up in Massachusetts with Barrington Coffee, and they're in Western Mass in Lee, Massachusetts. The zip or the area code up there is 413, and it's their 413 medium body blend.
I have to also say I've noticed that more food is showing up on the table.
Oh.
So
Yes,
Yeah,
this one's
that
actually
too.
vegetarian. So
and this one is vegetarian.
We should leave that to them down there.
No, I'm
No,
gonna
get
eat
at it. I can't eat the cheese.
Can't eat the cheese.
There's
Yeah.
4 of us at the table that are
Trying to
willing
get ready
eat
for
cheese.
Speedo season.
So what is the beer that this is meant to pair with, and do we
Me
have it in
too.
front of us?
No.
I was gonna say probably not. So maybe we should wait.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
actually, it was the triple.
Oh, it was the triple. So we have the triple.
Oh, I finished the triple.
I finished the triple.
I still have some triple.
So we have a smoked Gouda apple and caramelized onion
Wow.
quesadilla with a maple mistress sour cream.
What?
So it could go with maple mistress too. That's the obvious one. But the triple lends a little sweetness to balance it all out.
It's not even fair how good this is.
This is delicious.
How do you get the idea to put these things together? And then that sauce.
Sometimes you look on the internet and just kind of get basic ideas of certain combinations or just combinations that I've worked with in the past. I don't like to use recipes. I don't go online and search up cooks.com and use a recipe. Sometimes I just like to gather ideas or certain ingredients that go together. This one was actually, I hate to say this, but my fiance Dana, she actually put this together or gave me this idea or somewhat of the idea, and I put the rest together. But if she's listening at some point, she's going to have a big head.
Nothing wrong
She
with that.
sits up here
She'll
next
sit
to
tall.
Steph.
Yeah, above everyone else.
But if I didn't say anything about that, since you asked, I'd be in
you'd,
trouble.
Of course, be in
Absolutely.
trouble. It's delicious.
It's
Kudos
just
to
so
both
good.
of you.
It's like nice and sweet and almost like desserty, but then it's the savory and the cheese and the triple cuts in there, and because I still have some left in my glass.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
the
don't have any
triple
control.
does that.
These are the.
Ooh, this is
okay.
coffee.
So this one, the first one, we have
Yes.
two different coffee stouts for you.
Okay.
It's the same base coffee stout,
All right.
but it has two different coffee beans in these. So the first one here has the 413 medium-bodied roast from Barrington Coffee Roasters in Massachusetts. The next one to back it up has the Sumatra full body roast from Benchwarmers in Fleetwood. So this is our typical. The second one is our typical brew, but we did a special one for Massachusetts because we just launched into the market with those guys, and wanted to do something special for them. And
I love coffee beer,
I haven't
Thank
tried
you.
either of these yet.
and
they're my
this
two
is-
favorite liquids, honestly. I
Yeah,
drink coffee until it's time to drink beer, and then I go to bed, and then I drink coffee until it's time to drink beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? My favorite quote is from the Oatmeal, the online comic site. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, and I'm
Yes.
probably getting it wrong, but basically it was that beer is good for coming up with really good ideas, and then coffee's good for executing them.
That's a great one. I like that. But that's like, I feel like that is our day to day. You know, we all put in extra hours. We wake up, we live off coffee until it's time to start having a beer, and then
Right.
you have a few beers, you go to bed, and you wake up and you do it again off coffee.
More coffee.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. I don't need
There's-
anything else in my life.
Such an amazing, strong, bitter chocolate character to this first one, at least, that I just am in love with. What's the ABV? Oh my god,
11.5.
Oh, no.
That's
The,
right.
the first one was 11.5.
It's like 3% higher than what the notes say.
Which one was which? Because this is the first one that was sat down. Is the first one the X Reserve?
The first one is the Massachusetts Barrington.
Gotcha.
The second one is Fleetwood Benchwarmers, Sumatra. No offense to our friends at Barrington, but I think personally that you'll enjoy the local Benchwarmers above the Barrington.
The Benchwarmers is the second one.
Correct.
I think
I
I,
like the
actually
first one
prefer
better.
the first one.
Oh,
They're both very
okay.
good,
Yeah.
but I think I prefer the first one. The second one
I
definitely
know why, because you and I like our coffee black.
exactly, and the second one's a little sweeter.
First one's more bitter.
and it's actually the second one. I can taste the alcohol a little more in the second one,
Okay.
which is nice. It almost has like a vanilla bourbon character to it.
Yeah, but I like the
first
bitterness
one
of the first
is
one.
bitter and
Yeah.
dark and chocolatey.
It's dark
and,
chocolate.
Oh, it's so good.
And black coffee. So Dan probably likes the second one better because he puts shit in his coffee.
No, now here's actually I was just about to say this too. I like my coffee with sugar and cream, but I like my coffee
I
beers.
like my sugar
Yeah.
with coffee and cream.
Yeah, but I like my coffee beers a little more on the bitter end.
Interesting.
A very poorly quoted Beastie Boys, I'm sorry.
Well, you tried.
I
A for
think,
effort.
I think with that, on that note, though, we're doing it again this year. We did it last year. One of our X Reserves that's coming out early January is our Imperial Vanilla Porter
What?
with whole Madagascar vanilla beans,
What?
and I think that would then fit what you're looking for. So I guess we could sum this whole thing up with a little bit of a, sort of just a summary saying, here at Saucony Creek, we're a little edgy. We grew up in a interesting lifestyle of action sports world, and
the hood.
and the hood. Yeah, Kutztown thugs represent thug life. You know what I mean? And no, I'm glad you guys got to experience a little bit of what goes on in here tonight. This is day to day.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're just trying to have fun and laugh around some good beers.
So another beer semi-magically appeared in front of us, and it is now the Hop Suplex, which I haven't gotten we've had before, but I haven't gotten a chance to sip this version of it as the cheese plate leaves the table.
I would just like to thank our listeners for rejoining the podcast because they probably haven't heard like the last 30 minutes of
Sign
what
up
we've
for our
been
newsletter.
saying.
No, that's not even making the newsletter.
That's not even going to be in the newsletter.
You were
Come
here.
to
You
our
should
Be in
know.
the Audience events, and you can experience
And
it.
be
I
offended
have
in
to
person.
say, I think this is the best version of hop suplex I've ever had. So cheers to Nick. I wish he was
Ooh.
here for me to
It's
tell him.
really
It's
good.
really nice.
And this is
Wow.
really the first hoppy beer we've had all night, which is surprising because hoppy beers are very
good.
trendy, and everybody makes a hoppy beer.
Trendy.
And IPAs are always like the biggest seller.
Is there actually freshly sliced grapefruit in this? Or
No, it
is there
tastes like
just
it.
aromas of that?
It's the aromas of freshly
It
sliced.
actually tastes like there's real grapefruit in it.
Yeah,
I
it
love
really
that.
does.
I love it.
But there are large wild and orange blossom honey additions to the beer. About 180 pounds worth.
Wow, that's a lot
So
of honey.
Suplex has kind of had a few different hands on it at this point in time. So it's kind of gone through like a version 1, 2, 3, and Nick has dialed it in.
1, 2, 3, Nick.
Yeah, well, he definitely is the person that dialed it in finest, and the water profile I think is the biggest addition for him. He really took close attention to how our well water was looking and dialed in exactly the profile that was best for what he was trying to execute. And so the most recent suplex is I'm not going to say that it's the final. I'm not going to say that it's the best because we are still in the process of putting in some more water treatment processes here. It's going to just give them a stable and steady water consistency. But right now you're drinking the freshest and the best that he's ever done and that we've ever done as a brewery, because every time Suplex has been increasing as far as attention to detail and as far as us getting it out the door and having it to any customer's hands as fresh as it could be. And that's also in partnership with our wholesalers. But Nick is really paying big attention to any of the IPAs. And you mentioned it earlier as far as like this is the first hoppy beer that we had. We're trying to sort of back off a little bit on doing too much hoppiness until we can get those water profiles dialed in and our pH is at the right place that actually, it builds a foundation to support those hoppy beers that we want. So I think you're going to see a little bit more come as soon as all of our extra water treatment goes into place, and you're going to see Nick start getting a little bit more adventurous on the hoppy side instead of just Stonefly and Hop Suplex.
It does taste really fresh. I have to say
does.
that.
It's almost like not that it has a grassy character, but it has almost like a fresh cut grass. I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's because it doesn't taste like like a lot of times with like Harvest Ales you get like that rainy dew grass flavor. It doesn't really have that, but it's just so like fresh sliced grapefruit,
Juicy.
juicy.
This is actually one of my favorite beers, and this version of it I felt was above all the others, and it's like you said, grass or juice or just some kind of citrus or tropical note to it.
Yeah, it tastes like something that's like just fresh. I really don't know how else to say it. Like it's got the grapefruit character, the citrus character.
It's really it has a nice like a crisp feel to it. Then also, like the hoppiness is great and it's there, and you get like in the back end there's a little extra hop bitterness that's there, and it like I've had some IPAs before, especially the higher ABV ones, that it's like an offensive hop bitterness in the background, but it's kind of calm. It's mellow. It's there. It's just like, hey, you had an IPA. Here's a little more.
This is the best version of Hop Suplex I've ever had.
Cheers, thank you.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's
Delicious.
super delicious. This is actually only I lie. This is probably the third time I've had this beer, and I would have to agree. This is really at the top of its game.
With such a hoppy beer, what food would you pair with this? I'm gonna guess those nuts are probably not at the top of that list.
No, the nuts are not.
Tacos.
Yes, I already mentioned tacos
When in
before,
doubt,
and
tacos.
spicy.
Tacos can be the answer to many questions.
I've actually used the hop suplex for a shrimp ceviche.
Whoa. I don't know that second word, but it sounds enticing.
That means chopped up stuff.
Ceviche actually is using citrus to cook proteins, shrimp or fish. So you're actually not using a heat element. You're using the acid or the.
So it's like a chemical reaction rather than a.
Yeah.
Is that why you hired him?
So with shrimp ceviche, you actually do par cook it a little bit, and then I added the hop suplex, some cilantro, some onions, whatnot, and that was actually at our beer pairing event at the bookstore in Bethlehem.
You just found a way. I don't like seafood, but you just found a way to describe something that has shrimp in it that I want to eat.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's the mark of a good chef.
His face.
I could see the hop bitterness kind of, I guess, cutting through some of the fishiness, the seafoodiness.
Well, brininess.
Spiciness.
Sure. I don't know.
Depending on where you're getting your fish or where
Normally
it's coming from. Well,
there's
we're talking about
freshwater
fish. We're not talking about seafood.
Yeah.
Seafood, for example, depending on where you're getting it from and where you're eating it at. You could be eating at a place that's not getting it in every day or every other day, or it's sitting around, or it's frozen. So that could also, you say you don't eat seafood. Why is it? Because it tastes like fish.
Not a huge fan of the fishy flavors.
I personally, I don't eat a lot of fish, but I do eat sushi. I prefer it raw. Salmon, I'd rather it cured, smoked. I don't eat it cooked.
I did have smoked salmon once that I really, really liked. I've been coming around to it. I like tuna. I know it's not the best be-all, end-all, but I like tuna salad sandwiches a lot. I like fried shrimp I can do, but I like the way the oil kind of helps the breading on it. But like a shrimp cocktail, I can't do.
The goddess of beer is bringing us more.
The goddess of beer is delivering the mistress.
Oh boy, is that what we have next? Is this
so.
it?
Certainly smells like it.
Have we come all this way?
We have come all
it
this
certainly
way.
Does smell like it.
And we have the Maple Mistress.
And
the one and
Never heard
only.
of it. Never heard of it.
Can't imagine you would. It's it's from it's a small place, small brewery makes it in Kutztown, Pennsylvania.
Kutztown? Have you ever heard of that place?
Hyphenated, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
With a C.
Sometimes you'll see it spelled with a K, but it's really a C.
It's so funny you say that because I was on the phone with tech support for QuickBooks earlier today,
God.
and they and he asked if it was with a C numerous times because we're on Kutztown Road in Kutztown, and so it is a constant battle to explain to people how our town is spelled.
Hashtag PA problems.
Kutztown.
Yeah,
Kutztown. So this is
Maple Mistress.
Maple Mistress, indeed. So this is
the beer, the myth, the legend.
Has it always been 9.8%?
Oh yes, it has.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason I don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Normally she mind erases everything, and
like most women, she's got that power in her.
Yeah, she uses the little flashy button thing.
Steph gives me an evil glare.
Flashy what?
You said that the last 15 times.
Oh my God.
You don't remember?
I love this beer. It's so it's 9.8%, and it's heavenly. So the original idea came from you. They didn't want you to do another pumpkin beer. They didn't want you to do something that was so standard. So you came up with the idea of maple syrup.
Yeah. So obviously we wanted to fulfill those tastes that we all expect during the fall season, leading up to Thanksgiving, and we wanted to have that autumn pumpkin profile out there. But we were also trying to set ourselves aside a little bit and differentiate, and that's where the maple syrup came from. That was kind of that agreed upon at the moment that it happened. It was now 3 years ago. Maple syrup was something that was a little bit off keel and didn't really you didn't see it on the shelf so often. So we sort of met with our distributors at the time and said, okay, this is great. Let's do something where we can put this word maple syrup on there and it's different. And then, like I said, we got lucky, and it was just one of those home runs that we were all happy with, and we're thankful that we weren't the only ones happy with it. It seems like it's been a hit across the board, where every bar, every state, every territory we've gone into, people have been a fan of this beer, and so we keep on trying to tune it in and get it dialed, but we really don't want to mess with the recipe, because literally since recipe 1, it's been a hit. So we've been happy, and it's the beer that we have to give all of our respect and contribution to the fact that it put us on the map.
Oh yeah, I mean there's definitely that, because I know when we had Kirby on, he was saying that year 1 you guys had people from basically across the country calling, and I know. I think I might have said this to him when he was on. I might not have. I don't know anymore. But
I don't know what's real anymore.
It's I like the pumpkin flavors in there, and I like that you added something
Pumpkin
different
doesn't have flavor.
because everybody and their brother does a pumpkin beer.
We also don't use pumpkin in the beer.
Really?
It's roasted butternut squash.
Yeah. Okay.
The problem is everybody thinks...
And for the first year, I actually roasted all the butternut squash in my oven in my house in Fleetwood.
And then you thought, what's the point?
I almost burned the house down many a times because I was roasting 50 pounds of butternut squash every night.
Oh, my God.
But I think, as Tim was about to say, I think people think that pumpkin tastes like cinnamon and nutmeg and...
Right.
Pumpkin beers taste like that.
Yeah, pumpkin beers. The whole pumpkin spice latte and all that stuff. Do people actually know what pumpkin tastes like?
No.
No,
because
not at all.
Pumpkin and butternut squash, they're all gourds. They're all similar tasting things. So people think of pumpkin, they're actually thinking of cinnamon and nutmeg and clove and ginger and all those things.
And that's an interesting point to bring up, because we actually had to change our label because the TTB told us that since we don't actually put a pumpkin in the beer, we're not allowed to call it a pumpkin beer.
Oh, that makes sense.
And however, going on Tim's comment that they're in the same gourd family, if you look at the main ingredient on a pumpkin puree at the grocery store, it's butternut squash.
Yeah,
I see that. I see the point that they would make with that, because people are going to assume, pumpkin's number one ingredient, not necessarily the butternut squash.
But when people think of pumpkin beers, they're not thinking of the taste of pumpkin.
Right,
and
you could call it spices that add.
You could
to
call
it
a pumpkin spice beer.
So
because it's spices, you
want
put
pumpkin
more
spice beer.
We're not allowed to.
No.
That's the
Pumpkin
TTB
pie
shut that down. We had to change. We had to change our
Call it
labels
an
because of
imperial bleep beer.
that. That's a great idea.
So when it comes to the maple syrup that you put in the son of a bitch, when it comes
Are those brownies?
Son of a
Those look
bitch,
like
give me a drink.
I love that song. When it comes to the maple syrup that you put into the beer, is it straight up like maple syrup that you would buy? I'm like obviously not Aunt Jemima shit, but is it like straight up maple syrup, or is it like molasses, or is it?
No, we get a lot of our maple syrup is from Echo Hill and outside of Fleetwood, and then we also have another local guy in the Ole area that has some grade B maple syrup that he makes. So we're doing everything's either Echo Hill or from his farm. So
it's still local, keeping with the local theme, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is good. But I like that, because I always wonder when people put the other flavors into their pumpkin-ish beers, what they're actually getting it from. So it's good to know that that's you have it there.
I mean, like there's definitely a heavy spicing addition that happens to the whole thing. I mean, again, when you say and Tim brought it up, saying that nobody really understands what pumpkin tastes like, because we're all in our minds thinking that pumpkin tastes like pumpkin pie.
Right.
Pumpkin pie is that flavor is created from a lot of spices, not from the pumpkin. And
shitloads of whipped cream, of course.
Absolutely. We don't put any whipped cream in Maple Mistress,
You hate whipped
though.
cream?
I hate it.
Oh, well, I would imagine.
Actually, I hate Cool Whip
Well,
and whipped cream.
We should
know what I
actually
hate?
put some
on
Miracle Whip.
certain things. I don't like Miracle Whip either.
Miracle Whip's disgusting.
It's like mayonnaise for stupid people.
Do you ever have Q Pie mayo?
No.
We should put some whipped
Japanese.
cream on
Really?
a Maple Mistress.
Pretty good.
What's it made with?
I don't know if Tim would be happy with that.
I think there's
He said
MSG
he
in
already
it.
told me he's not
Of course
into
there
it.
is.
I would try it.
It'd be
So
an interesting dessert beer.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
And this is like an NPR inside the actor studio.
God.
Serious question.
Oh boy.
All right, James Lipton.
Why is Maple Mistress so popular?
Wow.
I have a complicated answer to that.
Oh, please.
I think that the name and the marketability of the name rolls off the tongue,
And the graphic.
and the graphic. Although I have had some pushback on the graphic because of the kind of the sexist female point of view
Busty.
on that.
Girl power.
But the biggest thing that I believe is that it is one of those beers that gets the non-beer drinker to start gatewaying themselves into the adventure of craft beer and what the possibilities of beer may be. And so a lot of people have a stigma in their mind of what beer is supposed to taste like. And Maple Mistress is one of those beers that changes their opinion of what beers taste like. And because of the marketing on it, because of the name, because of pumpkin, and because of the season, they get their lips on it, and it starts to convert them. And they go and they give a sample of a sour or something else. And I've had this interaction with people before where they say to me, "Oh, I only drink wine," and I'm like, "Well, you know what? You need to try these sours." And I'll hand them like a Consecration or a couple of the free will sours, and then all of a sudden you have this person who never would drink beer
They're like,
before.
wait, this is beer?
And they start to change their opinion because they never knew that it existed in that capacity. So I think that it's ultimately a beer that is a gateway for those who might not normally want to drink beer, to drink something that is a little bit more on their flavor profile, and also it fits the season and it fits the atmosphere of the fall.
Yeah.
And so it kind of encumbers the whole dynamic of September to December.
Or July to for some.
That's not our decision.
Some pumpkin beers, but
unfortunately, the Speedos start coming out in January. It's weird. So
No, but that's a really good answer, and that's very true. And I think you're absolutely right. Is that it's beer that is, if somebody who's not into craft beer, who doesn't understand like the width of the spectrum that it can occupy,
right,
would drink this and be like, I never knew beer could taste like this, and it does capture the flavor profile of the autumn season.
Yeah,
like
no doubt.
Very effectively captures those feelings.
Little breweries like Saucony Creek and all these 4,000 breweries that we spoke about earlier in the show had no opportunity of ever existing if it wasn't for those early adopters back in 91, 92 to 95 that are now your Dogfish and your Rogues and your Stones and your Sierra Nevadas
Dock
and your
Street.
Dock Street was there. You name all these places, and those guys spent tons of time and money and crazy efforts on educating people on why the beer was different than the beer they're used to.
Yep.
And so it gave us a venue and a platform to actually share with them now on our little scale what we would like to say our beer is. And we wouldn't have been able to do this at this level 15 years ago. Those guys gave us the venue to do it. And so I think that as a small brewery like Saucony, we always have to kind of pay a little bit of a tribute to the fact that those guys put in a hell of an effort at the beginning. Your Jim Cooks, your Ken Grossmans, your Sam Calajones, all those guys that really dedicated a lot of time to education, got us to a place where now the entire country, the entire world is looking at what American craft beer is, and those people that had no idea or never drank a beer before are interested in trying something. And that's where we got them to drink a Maple Mistress.
It's awesome. That's a very good way to put it. And I have to mention these brownies, whatever they are, they're phenomenal.
Are we allowed to eat the brownies?
Yeah.
Yes,
I would
please.
hope
this
so.
happening?
I already did.
Is
They're
this happening?
so good.
There's
And they're
actually
really
maple
good.
mistress in
Yeah.
the brownie.
Oh, come on. That's not even fair.
Are those the ones
They
from
go
your
together
suitcase,
so
or,
well.
or you made those here? Those are the legal ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
Those are the legal ones.
partially legal.
Yes.
No, they are great. Oh my god, especially paired with the beer. So if people want to get in touch with Saucony, where can they find you online?
They just come over to my house.
Or as the chalkboard paint behind us says, at Saucony Beer on Twitter, and you can hashtag Saucony Beer on what I'm assuming is Instagram.
That is
IG.
Instagram. We're also at Saucony Beer on Instagram.
Okay.
And then Facebook is
Oh,
Saucony
that's
Creek Brewing.
not like one and the other. It's like, hey, it's both of them, and you should hashtag
Correct.
Saucony.
Yeah.
I get
correct.
it now.
Yeah, that
It only
was
took me 3 hours.
We're very progressive here at Saucony. So we try to mess with minds and flip flop, tweet and instas.
If you fancy yourself so progressive, Vine, Periscope, Twitch.
We do Periscope. Vine we did a couple years ago, and we've already expired it. So
Try again.
Do you Snapchat?
we have personal Snapchats throughout the brewery, but we don't have an actual brewery Snapchat.
Okay.
We should probably tell people not to follow you if they're personal Snapchats.
Well,
They are
or-
brewery based, but it goes.
Okay.
It's individuals, But you never
Snapchat
mind.
worries me just overall.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Snapchat's weird.
Yeah, it
I don't
it
like
was
the
invented
whole-
for the sole purpose of dick pics.
That's what I heard. I never got any of those.
No, me neither.
Which I'm
Nor
so thankful
did I
for.
send any.
Yeah, I'm very thankful about that.
God. Oh, the internet's a terrible place.
Yeah, I never.
Except for the
I'm
small
glad I
corner
wasn't
known
born
as
there.
beerbusterspodcast.com.
Ooh.
Which is brought to you by Audible.
Thank you. I was eventually getting there. Brought to you by Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters for your free 30-day trial. Download a free audiobook while you can, because let's face it, we're all busy. It's 21st century. Nobody has chance to
And-
read anymore.
Speaking of being busy, if you don't have time to listen to an entire episode of Beer Busters, you can go to the Beer Busters YouTube channel and listen to snippets and segments of the podcast.
And on that YouTube channel, you can also see our newest videos, including The Flight and Steph's Beer Ventures,
Absolutely.
where you can see a monthly roundup of some of the best news stories of the month and some of the best ideas and places for you to go when you travel around the country, because Steph is a very well-traveled individual around this country, and everywhere she goes, she has to find any brewery that she possibly can, or just a good beer bar.
Truth.
Thought you had more to say than that.
No, you're right.
Truth.
I'm excited to do my Brooklyn beer
I'm sorry, your
venture.
what?
My Brooklyn
No,
beer
you
venture.
are.
I'm excited
Thank you. Thank
to
you.
do my Brooklyn beer venture.
Are you in?
I don't overuse excited, so I'm allowed to use it now and then.
throughout
Excited,
the-
excited. You threw away the
threw-
thesaurus
by
I made for you?
I was-
I made you a thesaurus.
I was cleaning out my book bag the one day, and the next day I was like, shit, I threw out Steph's thesaurus. Steph's thesaurus. God damn it. That's a sign that there's been a lot of great beers tonight. And
Thank you.
two of which were under 9%, was it? Everything else was above and super alcoholically delicious. And my liver thanks you.
And it's alcoholically delicious.
There's rainbows and stars and beers and beers and...
And it's alcoholically delicious.
Well,
I've been hearing you talk about your adventures and travels. Are you familiar with the whole Brew Trek tours that were put together with Chris Belanca lately? Local Burke County bottle beer trader guy, friend of the brewery. They run all sorts of bus tours out of the area. A lot of them start here and end here, but they'll go to Brooklyn and hit 3 places. Tomorrow they're going to Kane and Forgotten Boardwalk and Carton.
Carton, I'm sure. Carton is right near Kane.
Yeah, I think that
Carton for sure. Yeah.
You
It is
can't go to
Carton.
Kane without
Yeah.
going to Carton. You can't go to Carton
so
without going to
they
Kane.
do these nice little
Challenge
like
accepted.
three brewery like day trip tours and all
Only
that stuff.
3?
Well, maybe if you can squeeze 3.5 in, you do it.
Steph does like 6.
yeah, Steph, not everybody
seven.
is as crazy as you.
No, I'm just talented.
We don't all have a DD to just
This
take
is true.
around with
Yeah,
us.
that's
you know?
true.
I'm still trying to find one.
Yeah,
You need to marry one.
yeah. Well, there's always that option. So if there's any women out there that are not drinkers,
So if you
I'm
don't
Dan
marry
Baker.
a DD,
Yeah,
Do
if
that.
you don't marry a DD, absolutely. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Absolutely.
It
Thank
was.
you guys for coming out.
Thank you for
Yes.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us. This
There's
is
a lot
great.
of fun that won't see the light of day from this recording because we've been recording for
we'll listen to
3
it on
hours-
our rocking chairs when we're 85.
3 hours and 6 minutes, and it will only ever see the light of external hard drive, and hopefully that will never crash. But the beer was great. The food was on point.
Thank you.
Kudos to that.
Yeah,
I mean,
come to the gastropub.
yeah.
Come to the gastropub.
If the
Everybody
food that
get their
you were-
radio voice
Oh,
on.
God. If the food
If
that
you
you
cook
were
it, they
providing
will
us was any indication of what will be waiting for people as you have the full kitchen, that's a good sign. That's a very, very good sign. Why are you pointing at me, Steph?
You have Christmas books.
Just one happens to be red, one happens to be green.
One
AKA
happens to
Christmas
be Saucony
bucks.
green, actually.
Yeah,
It is Saucony green.
All right, I can live with that.
What's the Pantone color on that?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, 375. Awesome. Trademarked.
Yeah,
Pay us.
I think that brings us to the somewhat timely end of another episode of Beer Busters. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having us out here. It's been a lot of fun.
Lady and gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I mean, the beers were great, as I expected. The food was fantastic, also as I expected. And I look forward to many happy returns. And when we come back, Nick can be on the show with us.
Absolutely.
shizzle.
I hope so.
Me
Cheers,
too.
guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Prost.
Thank you.
I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Effner.
and of course, our fermenter-tainer.
Wayne Baker.
I don't think any squids were harmed in the making of this episode.
Although it
but
is entirely possible.
I don't really remember much of it, but we'll see you next time.
Prost.
Na 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 na.
Nope.